candidates. I just have two individuals. We have a school committee meeting tonight, and he has to run across the street, and I'm going to have a person who's going to announce for a public office real quick. But Sean, you want to say anything?
Sure.
All right. What a silly question to ask a politician.
Whether I do it well is a different question. Thank you. It's always a great pleasure to come to these meetings. I want to thank Bill for his service on the committee. Cheryl, Dot, Harry's been terrific, as you all know. I do have a school committee meeting across the street, and unfortunately I do have to run. But as most of you know by now, I've decided to run for state committeeman in the 1st Essex District, which has been held for quite some time by Bill Ryan, who's done a terrific job. So if we can give him a round of applause for his service, that'd be great. As I just want.
Hand you over the state committee bylaws, and good luck.
I can't forget, I almost forgot, Dot, let's all congratulate Dot for wonderful years. How many? 24. Unbelievable. And Dot is a terrific friend of mine. She's just terrific. The reason my decision was pretty simple. I ran for state senate in the 1st Essex District, which I know the district extremely well, in 2012 and 2014. Coming up a little bit short, but along the way, I've met some tremendous people. I've had, in my opinion, even though we came up short, I feel that it was a success all the way around. It was it was a great learning experience for me. And as far as the state committeeman is concerned, why I decided to run was, as I look back, I remember when I was running, how challenging it was and how I felt to some degree all by myself. And I'm certainly not including my family in that comment, but when you're in your own silo, you don't feel as if you have the support that I think you need from the party. So my goal, to be honest with you, is to be out there, visible. And most of you know me. I'm extremely passionate, and I'm one of the hardest working individuals you guys will ever meet. I think you all know that. So with that being said, I feel that bringing the candidates together, supporting those individuals that want to run, growing the party, which I believe now, I know we have 2 state reps here that are doing well, probably 11 to 14% in the Commonwealth, but at least in the district. That's too small. We need to build the party, but the way to do that is not being divisive. We need to make sure we're bringing people together and working together, regardless of how conservative one is or not. What I see, and I've said this many, many times, you've seen the Democratic Party unite together and work together no matter what. And I think from my vantage point, running for office, I think that in order to build the party, not only do we need to recruit new people, which I feel very confident I'll be able to do, we also need to bring the whole party as a whole together. And that'll be my primary focus. So I'm hopeful that you will join me, support me on Super Tuesday. And I think we're going to have a successful 2016 for the Republican Party across the country. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Thank you.
And now one more bit of housekeeping. I'm going to ask our secretary, Cheryl Ferguson, to help with an announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. And thank you for your 24 years of service, Doug.
Thank you.
You look the same as you did 24 years ago.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Ferguson, secretary of the group. I'm really sorry that this meeting was a little late because I was a little late. But I've introduced a lot of people to come up and speak at the podium, but this one in particular individual is very close to me, very close to me. He's my mentor, he's my teacher, he's wiser than me, and I'm just really proud and feel honored to introduce Paul Ferguson, my husband, for a special announcement.
I'm leaving and just starting, but I'm not going to be anywhere.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Ferguson, and I'm just getting over a head cold, so sitting by myself over there. I want to announce that I'm going to run for Governor's Council countless counselor in the 5th District. We have an incumbent, a Democrat, over in Gloucester. We've had a lot of people that go run at her. Very difficult the way the district's been carved out. It's heavily Democrat, but no one's been willing to take a shot at it, you know. I'm retired now, and I'm really looking forward to it. My wife says she hasn't seen a sparkle in my eye for a long time. So, you know, it's all working. I just got off the phone with the sheriff. He said, you know, as you know, I'm retiring. He said, but I can give you a lot of help, and I'm going to do it for you. So I'm off to a good start there. We're talking with a few other people throughout the district. It's going to be a very, very difficult fight, but I'm up for it. Maybe I can hold it for a couple of years and hand it down, as Sean said. We bring younger people into the party and get them to run. I'm supporting Sean, as we all are, you know, and we're leaving on March 1st for Florida, but we're going down to do our absentee and tomorrow and put him into the Republican State Committee. I want to ask you for your support. We'll probably be getting in touch with most of you, and somewhere along the campaign trail. It's a difficult position to run for. About 900,000 people. It's all of Essex County, and it runs up in the Middlesex, up Low and up past Low. But I've been around a while. I was in Essex County patrolling for a long time. I had a career in law enforcement before I got in business. I picked up a lot of contacts through politics along the way. So I'm in to win, and we're going to work hard. And just thank you, Bill, for letting me make this announcement.
And Paul failed to humbly mention that he only needs 1,000 certified signatures, so that's the hardest part of the job, get on the ballot. And I think with that, couple of housekeeping, we're going to dispense with reading of the Secretary's report, and she, unless you really want to read a report to us, no. But I did want to ask our Treasurer, Harry Yo, who also needs to get some authorization from the body, so I'm going to ask him if he can come up and give us a treasurer's report.
You don't need a CPA to figure out this budget, but we have a balance of $234.43. Just received a check tonight for a $100 donation, and well, we're going to change the account over to another bank, because every month they're charging us $8 for this account, where I talked to Bill about it. He said maybe one of the other banks. So we're going to investigate Haverhill Bank or Kentucky Bank, one of them, to see. I mean, it's ate up over probably a couple $100 since we opened this account. So
So
with
I'll
that said,
entertain a motion to authorize the treasurer to change banks with our account. If somebody wants to make the motion. You making the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, and you're authorized to go find us a friendly bank.
all right, friendly bank.
Other than that, we're going to go to the main part of the program, and that is to familiarize the people of the area that at least that are on Comcast cable TV, and to learn about our presidential candidates. I hopefully have speakers for most of them, and we have some good speakers. And I'm going to maybe do it by as they came into the meeting, and so which is probably the fairest way to do it. And so with that, I'm going to ask State Representative Lenny Mara, who is going to be here for Governor Kasich, who the governor of Ohio, who we're all familiar with, who's doing a great job, and he's a wonderful speaker and a great governor, and we got a great rep representing him. So let's hear it for Lenny.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you all for coming out tonight. Yes, I am a state representative from West Newbury, and I want everyone to know that early in the campaign, almost all the candidates came to Massachusetts at some point to meet the state reps and state senators up close and personal in small venues just like this. And so we got to meet Carly and Christie and Rubio. We met Rand Paul and Scott Walker and John Kasich. And I want to say every single one of them is an excellent candidate, and every single one of them would make a very good president, certainly better than anything you'll see on the Democrat side. But after meeting with them and looking into their backgrounds, I think there's one guy that kind of stands out head and shoulders above all the rest, and that's Governor John Kasich of Ohio. When you look at record and resume, when you look at lists of accomplishments, nobody comes even close to John Kasich when it comes to cutting more taxes, cutting more wasteful spending. Nobody has created more jobs, and nobody has balanced more budgets. In fact, the last time this country had a balanced budget was when John Kasich was chairman of Ways and Means. That was about 20 years ago. And when he left Congress, he went into the private sector for a number of years. He ran for governor of Ohio. He won. And that was in 2011. And he took over a state of Ohio that was not doing very well. It was a very bad time for the state. They were losing hundreds of thousands of jobs. People and businesses were moving out of the state. They were 48th in the nation in job creation. They had a budget shortfall of about $8 billion. They had no savings, no rainy day account. And John Kasich turned that all around. He turned it around by reducing unnecessary regulation, by cutting taxes and regulations. He cut the income taxes by 16%, and he phased out a small business tax that was hampering the creation and growth of small businesses. And by doing that, he also, at the same time, was fixing things on the fiscal end. He created a $2 billion rainy day fund where none had previously existed. So other candidates may talk about creating jobs, about cutting taxes and spending. They may talk about balancing budget, but there's one guy who has an outstanding record of doing it. That's John Kasich. He's the last governor standing, the last one with any real executive experience. And so when you go to the polls on Tuesday, Super Tuesday, March 1st, please consider a vote for John Kasich. Thank you.
Thank you, Lenny. And I'm going to then move to, just to break it up. We have a member of the state Senate from New Hampshire, Senator Regina Birdsell, who represents the Senate in the Derry area, not too far. In fact, Derry used to be part of Haverhill. If you look at the first map of this area, a little piece of Derry, and I would call it East Derry, and Hampstead, Plastow, Atkinson, were all part of Haverhill, and somehow they got away, and we don't know who was at the watch. Come on up. But I'd like to have Senator Birdsell come up and speak. Tell us who you're, and I didn't say who you're here for. Marco Rubio, who's Senator from Florida.
Thank you for inviting me here. I just wanted to say it's like old home week because I actually lived in Haverhill, Bradford from 1980 to 1996 before I moved up to New Hampshire. But I am Regina Birdsell. I'm state senator from New Hampshire. I represent District 19, which makes up Hampstead, Windham, and Derry. And I am also the co-chair of the Marco Rubio campaign in New Hampshire, one of the many co-chairs. I have to say that I agree with the representative. We have an awful lot of really good candidates running, and I personally think that Marco Rubio is one of the best. When I first noticed Senator Rubio, I was running for the State House. I was running as a state legislator, and I was looking at some Reagan speeches, and I came across this speech that this Speaker of the House was resigning from the Florida House in order to run for the Senate. And when I started listening to him, I was absolutely amazed at what I heard. So I immediately called my sister, who lives in Florida, and I said, you really have to start paying attention to this guy. And then I also called my husband's ex and said, you need to start listening to him. And she actually wound up working on his campaign as senator. So we still get along. But the next time I came in contact with Senator Rubio, I was the chairman of the Rockingham County Republican Committee. And I tried to get everybody I could to talk to the keynote speaker of our Freedom Founders Dinner. No one would come. It was either in the middle of the legislative session. I tried Susanna Martinez. I tried Scott Walker. I called Marco Rubio's office within 2 days. He had committed to coming. So to me, he was very responsive. And then they asked me to co-chair his campaign in New Hampshire, and I was very proud to do it. Because as a state legislator, he and I think very similar on a lot of issues. With regards to education, he's against Common Core. I'm against Common Core. He has really some great ideas on how to deal with the student debt that some of our students are really being weighed down with. And he's got some really great ideas on how to move students into vocational schools rather than everyone going to college. If they don't feel like they want to go to college, then he wants to move them into occupations that they can use to actually work with their hands and start making money right out of high school. Because that's one of the biggest issues that we have in New Hampshire is finding good workers in the trades. And he's very strong. I think he's very strong in trying to do that. Immigration. I know a lot of people are concerned about his Gang of Eight. He's always been for securing the border, deporting criminal illegals. He wants to continue with E-Verify to make sure that those that are here are supposed to be here, because some of the biggest issues we have with people who are illegal have overstayed their visas rather than leaving when they were supposed to. And he also is in favor of pulling funding for sanctuary cities. As far as health care, he and I think very similarly. He was able to stop the insurance companies from getting a bailout under Obamacare, so probably taking them right out from under their knees. He wants to concentrate on a consumer-centered health reform. He's also voted against the devastating cuts to Medicare Advantage and also the job-killing medical device. It's killing us in New Hampshire, and I know it's killing Massachusetts. And as Speaker of the House in Florida, he did a number of things. He fought against eminent domain in Florida and won. He also reduced a lot of the regulations to allow businesses to prosper. The strongest piece that I know about Senator Rubio is his foreign policy and national security. I am a daughter of a retired Army. My sister and my brother-in-law are both retired Army, and I served 10 years in the Coast Guard. So national security is very, very important to me. And he serves on the Senate Committee for Foreign Relations, the Select Committee on Intelligence. That man has more intelligent information on him in his head than I think anybody else does. And he can tell what moves Putin is doing, Iran is doing, and China is doing. And that's very important to me. For someone to be able to understand what's happening on the world stage, I think is one of the most important things. And finally, obviously, I'm a strong in favor of the military and the VA, and he is by far, to me, the strongest on supporting the military, making sure that our soldiers and sailors have what they need going into battle, which they're losing daily from what we have now in the White House. So I just want to close with that, and to say I firmly believe for us and for the Republicans, it's time to turn the page and hand it over to a new generation. And I think Marco Rubio is it. And I believe he is the one person that can not only unite the party, but he can grow it, because we have had record number of young people wanting to get involved. So with that, I say thank you for your time, and thank you for all who are running in Massachusetts, too.
I jumped ahead of Jim Lyons because I don't think he knew we had a state senator here, and I wanted to make sure he waited and heard the senator's remarks. So I did skip him. He was here before you, but you wondered why, but that was the reason. But now I'd like to ask Representative Jim Lyons, who is going to be here, to speak for Senator Ted Cruz from Texas, who is one like Donald Trump and Senator Rubio and Ted Cruz, who they seem to be topping the ticket. Kasich is right behind them, and Dr. Carson is also there. So we're very fortunate that Representative Lyons, who is doing a great job along with Lenny Mara, fighting the majority in the State House every day.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. When I first got elected to the State House, which was in 2010, I actually represented part of the great city of Haverhill, so it's great.
Say the lady, our secretary's from Arlington also.
You are? Boy, this is great. Where were you born in Arlington? I'm from Arlington, too. Everywhere I go, I run into Arlington folks. That's wonderful.
Wow.
So it really is great to be here, and congratulations to the two long-serving members of the Dot and Bill for all of this service. They've truly been an example for what people in the Republican Party should learn from, is that their commitment to the values and the hard work that they've put in over the years. Some days have been pretty lonely being Republicans in Massachusetts.
You got it from Ted, from Sergeant all the way to.
Exactly, and their tenacity and their ability to stand up and fight for Republican values is truly inspirational. And thank you both for all of your work. Really appreciate it. I got to know Ted Cruz at the beginning in the summertime. I got a phone call from their campaign, and they said, "Can you have an event at your house? We have a barn at the back of our house, and we hold events there." And they said, "Can you get 40 or 50 people there?" I said, I think we can get 40 or 50 people. So this was around May the 20th. We put out an email, and the first day we had 250 people that wanted to show up. So by 2 days before the event, we actually had 750 people. My wife was having a panic attack. Where are we going to put these people? And in any event, we had to shut it off, and 750 more people wanted to come. And actually, the night of the event, 750 people showed up in our backyard and met Senator Cruz. I have to tell you, having met him firsthand and watched how he operated with every single person that night was truly amazing. He's one of those candidates that looks you right in the eye, tells you what he thinks, and listens to what you have to say. And I found that to be very, very important. You have so many times where you run into politicians and they're always running to the next person or the next event. Here's a guy who came from Texas, stood there for 3.5 hours and said hello and listened to every single person. Didn't matter what their age was, from young all the way up to the older folks. And what really has attracted me to Senator Cruz is that he is a consistent, principled conservative. We talk about all of the issues, whether it be immigration, whether it be the economy, whether it be the Second Amendment, whether it be ISIS, whether it be religious liberties. Every single one of those issues, most of the Republicans agree on. There's only one Republican, though, that has consistently led the fight in Washington, D.C. I happened to get a copy of his book, and I was reading his book, and I got to page 10. And at page 10, there's a story about him walking in to a Republican caucus. I'm a member of the Republican caucus with Lenny in Massachusetts. So we understand how caucuses work, and sometimes, there's discussions about certain bills. Well, one of these bills was a spending bill, and within the caucus there was talk to let the spending bill go through. We would vote against it. We could all go back and tell our constituents that we supported the taxpayers, when in fact we really didn't put up any fight. And Cruz didn't like that. And he stood up and said, "No, that's not what I'm going to do. I came here to Washington, D.C. to protect my taxpayers, and I'm going to go to the floor of the Senate, and I'm going to make sure that everyone knows that this is a bad bill. I'm not just going to say no, vote one way, and then tell everybody that I did my job." So I read that, and to me, that's exactly what we want in Washington, D.C. Not someone who comes out on a night like tonight or wherever a politician goes and says one thing and then goes down to Washington and does completely the opposite. And that's what Ted Cruz is all about. He's an individual. that looks you in the eye, tells you what he's going to do, and goes and does it. I think what he did in Iowa speaks volumes to the kind of person that Ted Cruz is. In Iowa, ethanol is a big industry, and ethanol is subsidized by the federal government. Ted Cruz went to Iowa and told the people of Iowa that he was against the ethanol subsidy. He didn't back down. He didn't make excuses. He said, I am against it, and I'm against all subsidies. And I think government has to get out of the business of subsidizing winners and losers. The governor of Iowa absolutely took him apart, Republican governor of Iowa. And he was under enormous pressure in Iowa, yet he didn't back down. That's the type of person that I want. He won Iowa, despite the fact that he went into Iowa and took a very, very unpopular position. So, folks, all I'm asking people to do is to take a look at the record. Take a look at the record on immigration. Ted Cruz led the fight against the Gang of Eight on the immigration bill. Take a look at the economy. He has a plan to reduce the income tax to 10% and on the corporate income tax to reduce it to 16%. Take a look at the Second Amendment. He's fought the battle to protect our rights on the Second Amendment. Take a look at religious freedom. Who led the fight to protect religious freedoms in Washington, D.C.? Ted Cruz led that fight. Who led the fight in Washington, D.C. to eliminate Obamacare? Ted Cruz led that fight. My response to all the other candidates is I couldn't agree more with my two colleagues tonight who said that we have terrific candidates running for President of the United States on the Republican side. But we have only one candidate who has gone to Washington, D.C. and taken on the Washington cartel, and that is Ted Cruz. Unfortunately, a week ago, we lost perhaps one of the greatest conservative jurists in American history, Anton Scalia. Now is more important than ever that who we appoint to the Supreme Court of the United States understands the Constitution and puts people on the Supreme Court who are not going to become activists, but are going to interpret the law. Ted Cruz has been in front of the Supreme Court 9 times, and he has won 5 times. He understands the Constitution. He understands the importance of interpreting the law as the founders wrote it, not as somebody thinks it should be interpreted today. And that is critically important to our future. The Supreme Court decisions that are coming up are critically important to our future. I'll close on this note. I listened to Ted Cruz talk up in New Hampshire one day, and he got up and he said, when I was 14 years old, he said, I went to high school and I joined the Federalist Club. He said, and all I did was learn about the Constitution. I memorized the Bill of Rights, I memorized the Constitution. By the time I was 18 years old, I had already given 80 speeches throughout Texas about the Constitution. He said, I'm not the type of guy that you might want to go out and have a beer with, but I am the type of guy that you would want driving you home. And I thought that spoke volumes about this man. He understands who he is, he understands what his role is, and we need someone who's going to drive us home to the American values that we believe in. And in my opinion, there is not a better candidate in my lifetime other than Ronald Reagan for President of the United States. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Now we have the honor of having a member of the Groveland Board of Selectmen, and he's going to come up here and Ed Watson, many of you know, he's a former member for almost 40 years in the Haverhill Police Department. Some of you may have been got tickets from him, but he did his job, and he's now a selectman down in the town of Groveland, doing a great job, won by a great vote, and he's agreed to come up and to say words on behalf of his favorite candidate, Donald Trump. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Actually, I don't see anybody in here that I gave a ticket to. Maybe one. I got him. Yeah, you don't count.
You deserved it.
Crack what you.
Bill, there wasn't anybody that I didn't give a ticket to that didn't deserve it.
You got it.
I had a frosty windshield.
Doing my job. But look, I think we got to congratulate Dot and Bill. I feel bad for the people that are going to take their place because they got some tough shoes to fill. How many years did you have? 24. 24, and Bill, you had more than that. 24. Shit. 48. 48 years. That's even older than I am. Well, look, I'm here just to speak about Donald Trump. I'll do this quickly. Donald Trump, the anti-establishment candidate. And Donald Trump is telling people the way it actually is. Originally, the Republicans were complaining, gee whiz, we can do something if we have a Republican Congress, a Republican House of Representatives. The voters gave it to them. They did nothing. Then they said, we need a Republican Senate. The voters gave it to them. What happened? They did nothing. So the people are mad. The people are listening to Donald Trump. They're mad at what the establishment is doing, and the establishment, they still don't realize how powerful Donald Trump is. Donald Trump, he's on a roll. Donald Trump is the only candidate that has produced jobs. There isn't another candidate that can say that. Donald Trump is the only candidate that is talking about the next crisis in this country. It's not climate change, like the Democrats will tell you it is. It's not ISIS or terrorism. It's not illegal immigration. It's political correctness run amok. He's the only candidate that's talking about that. Donald Trump, I think he's up by 30-some-odd% here in the state of Massachusetts. But, and it's hard to believe that Tuesday is Super Tuesday. But look, let's give Donald Trump a big boost here from the state of Massachusetts and send a message to the establishment candidate, the establishment in Washington that's not listening to the people, the actual voters. So I hope you consider giving Donald Trump a vote come Super Tuesday. Thank you.
There were one other candidate that we did try and get somebody to speak for, and I don't know if somebody here would like to come up and speak for Dr. Ben Carson, who is also running. If not, we'll say a few words. We don't want to leave any of our candidates, and as everyone has said, we're very fortunate to have such talented people. Dr. Carson, as we all know, is a neurosurgeon, primarily working on infants, has an astounding record. He's also a person that really believes in America, and I listen to him speak all the time. He's such a good human being, and I really believe he would, he or any of the candidates that I mentioned tonight, any one of them will do a much better job than what we have now in Washington. So Dr. Carson, of course, is a very accomplished person. He's done very well. Did very well out in Iowa, and he's not one of the top. I believe he's along with the lower level candidates, but I didn't want to let the night go by and have all the candidates mentioned. People, when you go out to vote on Tuesday, which is, we're one of many states, that you most importantly go out and vote. Don't forget to look down the ballot. We have the ward committees and the state committee. We need to elect them also for the next 4 years to run the party and to organize these kind of events, not only here, but our state convention and all the things that we have to do, recruit candidates, and raise money to help finance them. But all of the candidates running are all very accomplished and thoroughly vetted with the debate process that we have here in this country. We would like to see this thing shortened up a little bit, I would think, but these poor folks have been out there for several years. I know that the reps being a former rep myself, we think it's hard doing all I do, and I can imagine if he had to do that, as Jim Lyons said, 950 people at his barn, and Ted Cruz shook hands with every single one of them. But I know that Lenny can tell you that about his candidate and the senator. Every one of these people work far beyond anybody in the private sector. They really give 1,000% to advance their candidacy. So with that, is anybody for Dr. Carson that wants to come up? If not, maybe I covered it enough. And what do you think, Dot? You want to say a few words before you go?
Thank you.
Yeah. Dot Early, as you know, was our state committee woman for the last 24 years. We both got elected together, and we left at the same time. I'm going to miss going down to the meetings that we had. Usually I'm at the Marriott in Newton, and we'd go there for dinner. Bill Chase always provided us transportation, and therefore we could relax. But I really am going to miss that. But Dot, go ahead and take over.
I just really want to thank the people of Haverhill in the 1st Essex District who supported me throughout the 24 years. First, we started with George Bush, it was Bill Weld, then Paul Salucci, then Jane Swift, then Mitt Romney, and then Charlie Baker in 2010, and again 2015. So I can say our record was terrific, and everybody that worked with me, my son came with us. We had a bus going to Washington to go to the inauguration when George Bush won. When Paul Salucci, was probably the greatest honor, other than having all my children, was the honor that Paul Salucci called me the day after election and asked me to be his chairman of the 2000 inauguration. And it was such an honor. We had all kinds of people. We had the Sons of Italy performing. He gave us a bus in Boston. He took my family. We all stayed there. All my grandkids were at BC. They were the little usherettes. So those were memorable days. We're not going anywhere, Bill, and just get that through your head. We're going to be here to help the governors and presidents, whoever run for our party, and whoever needs us, we're always going to be available. I want to congratulate the candidates that are running in our seats, Sean Toohey and a gentleman from Methuen, Danny, is it Dan? And we have Sheila Mullen, who opposed me a couple of times, and I want to congratulate her when she's the only one on the ballot. And I want to say thank you to all the voters in Haverhill who supported me, and all my friends, and the bus rides we did for the sheriff. We're never going anywhere. We're here to help each and every one of you. And with that, thank you again. We have to get ready for writing everybody on the ballot so we can send the papers in.
Yeah,
We have the next meeting after the election.
Yeah, after the election, we are required by the state law to have a meeting to elect our ward committee and our officers for the city committee. And
We have to
yeah,
notify.
we'll notify
secretaries.
everyone. We're going to have a meeting probably downstairs, a business meeting where we'll just fill out all the paperwork and do that. So that'll be sometime in first week in April,
First week in
10 days in April. Anything else you can?
I think that's it.
Anybody?
Make sure everybody gets out to vote, and you still have time to go to the city clerk's office to get your application. If you're going away, you're gonna be out of the city.
All right, and
Please do
we have
that.
some refreshments that Dot Early has provided, and they're always good. Yeah, I think some homemade stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it's called. You, go look at it, it looks like
Those days
homemade.
are over.
I just want to
Come on.
congratulate and thank Dot Early for all of her spiritual guidance to the Republican Party over the last 7 years. I met you, I think, in
Come on down.
1998 or so.
Come on down.
I'll speak from here.
No, you gotta go on the microphone.
Introduce Joe.
Attorney Joe Sullivan.
Dot's become a great friend.
His dad is the former mayor of Newburyport. When I was mayor of Haverhill, him and I were great buddies, and I used to have me down and march in the Yankee homecoming parade next to him every year. We were both mayors together, and his son now lives in Haverhill. We got nice to have one of the Sullivans up here in Haverhill.
Wonderful.
And we also, we were all raised as Reagan Democrats in my house, and we got converted to the right side of the cause by people like Bill and Dot.
Say your name.
Joe Sullivan. I've been a resident of Haverhill for many years now, but back in 1998, I met, I've known Bill all my life practically, but I met Dot early, and just want to thank you, Dot, for all your help. But she's impacted a lot of lives of a lot of people, but in particular, back on October 30th, 2001, Governor Jane Swift came to DeBarros for a little fundraiser, and Dot thought it would be a good idea if I came up. So we put the entourage together. We all came up in like big shots. We all met the governor, but I happened to meet someone else that night, and it was my wife now of going on 13 years. So thanks, Dot, for the connection, and never forget it.
Thank you. And with that, any other business that we feel to take up tonight? I would, if not, I will entertain a motion from the next governor's counselor for, to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
And there's our second. There's been a second by Bill Chase. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And those opposed, the ayes have it, and the meeting stands adjourned until your next notice. Thank you all.